Yeah. Two. Yeah. Aye. I'm jacking the beat, you calling the cops, the yapping is cheap, I call you the ops, the rapping is heating, it's all cause of pop. You get a leak for the ball, get a drop. Feel like I'm wrong when I double it back, cause I'm making it harder to catch that. But I covered the ticket, I call you to visit, you tipping and hit up the cash app. Baby girl, been around for it, yeah. In the old days, I was stuck in old ways, never really trying to flip the old page. Young man tripping at an old age, thinking I was flicking, had a low wage, led the bro days, then a slow praise, thinking it'd be different, it would gon' change, then it really didn't, it's a cold game, yeah. Ay, all I really wanted was the money in the pocket, got over money, but the money ain't the topic, like Bill Doe and the money gotta stop it, kid need food and the whip need juice, I'ma get these views when the work hard, play hard, homeboy, everybody ain't calling out. Got a mouthpiece from the southeast, if you want scrap, stall him out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then I feel good, man, I'm balling out. I'm a rich man with a rich fam, Christ bars got me out of mama house. And I bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Big God, big grace. Big God, big grace. Big God, big grace. Big God, big grace. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Big God, big grace.
What it do, babies? It's your partner looking old, so fresh, cold, clean. You see that thing, man. Take the picture for your mama and them guys. And welcome to the Countermove podcast, where we look at life from a wise perspective. We lean in, reason together, and prescribe the right solution. It's been a long day for your partner, man. So forgive me, guys, but I'm locked and loaded and ready to go, man, on this one. This is going to be a very fun one, guys. But before we begin, if you are looking for a debate, do me a quick favor, y'all. Every time I gotta say this, there's a exit button, an X, it could be a white, whatever it may be, on any side of the screen. Hit that boy and skedaddle. We are not into the debate mode right now. We're gonna look at this thing and reason together, guys. So let's do that. Look at this thing, guys. Guys, man, let's dive into this, man. I don't know if you guys have been following what's going on when it comes to the U.S. dollar. I get this question a lot concerning the dollar because of what I do business wise. And so I said, all right, let me dive into it and see what's going down. And so, with that being stated, guys, there's something going on with the U.S. dollar versus an organization called B.R.I.C.S. Man, B.R.I.C.S. So, now, what is B.R.I.C.S? So, what countries are in B.R.I.C.S and what is it? So, let's dive into what that is real fast, guys, and let's see what B.R.I.C.S is. This I get this question a lot from people. So, here we go. Boom. This is B.R.I.C.S, guys. This is B.R.I.C.S. B.R.I.C.S stands for Brazil, Russia, India, and China. That's what BRICS stands for, guys. That's BRICS. All right. And what BRICS is doing is BRICS is realistically trying to create a competition or really to replace the US dollar, guys. Now, this is not nothing new. Uh, this has been done before, right? But there's something different about this setup, guys. All right. And it has a bigger threat than past things that were BRICS, guys. So, what countries, guys? That's another question. What countries are in this BRICS alliance? Let's go ahead and see, guys. All right. So, you have Britain, you have Russia, India, China, and South Korea. I'm sorry, South America. The big player in this thing is China. They're the big player. All right. So what's going on, guys? Why would they be doing this, man? Well, what other countries are in BRICS? Let me make it bigger for the folk in the back row. I want to make sure you guys can see what I can see, guys, so that there's be no ambiguities here. What's in BRICS? Who's in BRICS? You got Algeria, Argentina, Bahrain, Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Saudi Arabia. La OPEC there, huh? You have the UAE, or United Arab Emirates, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Mexico, down low. That's our next door neighbor in the south, right? Nicaragua, Nigeria. You have Pakistan, Senegal, Sudan, Syria, Thailand, uh, Tunisia, Turkey, Uruguay, Venezuela. We buy oil from Venezuela now, right? And you have Zimbabwe. Among all the nations, Algeria, Argentina, Bahrain, Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, or UAE, have formally applied to join the BRICS alliance. So you actually have more countries wanting to get into this thing. All right. More countries who want to get in where they fit in when it comes to this alliance. All right. Now, a lot of the dollar hawks say this is not a big deal, guys. This has been done in the past. And to be honest with you guys, they actually have a little bit of a point, guys. But, guys, something actually happened, guys, that really kind of caused me to kind of do a double take on this one. All right. They're really going after the US dollar. And we're finna see why, guys. I had to widen the circle a little bit, guys, and bring in my partner, man. I discovered this. I call him a young man, Mark Moss. He's one of the best I've ever seen to break this whole thing down, guys. All right. So all of my domestic and geo-domestic or international business experts, get your pens and paper out, guys. You're going to see why this brick situation is a different game plan, a game plan than prior alliances. All right, guys, listen to this, guys, and he's going to get right to the point, right up front. Listen.
China and the B.I.S. reveal their plan to dethrone the U.S. dollar.
Stop. He said the B.I.S. Come to your partner real fast, y'all. The B.I.S. Who is the B.I.S.? He's going to go into it a little bit as well, but you may say, but who the hell is the B.I.S.? I'm glad you asked, guys. Yes, so the B.I.S. stands for Bank for International Settlements, or the B.I.S. Let's go a little bit deeper of who this B.I.S. is, guys. Don't worry, I got you, big dog. He's going to go a little bit deeper into it as well. And guys, if you're watching this on any platform, you need to share this one. You need to share this one, guys, all right? So here we go. Here's the BIS, guys. Here's the BIS. The BIS stands for the Bank for International Settlements, right? Now, who is that? What is the BIS? I'm glad you asked. Let's make it big for the people in the back row. All right, in the back row, it says the BIS, the Bank for International Settlements, is an international financial institution offering banking services for national central banks. And a forum for discussing monetary and regulatory policies. The BIS is owned by what? By 63 national central banks. Also provides independent economic analysis. Right? So what's the BIS? It's the big bank. It's bigger than the IMF. The BIS is bigger than the IMF. They the HNIC. You know what I'm talking about? The head brothers in charge. You know what I'm talking about? I want y'all to see this. It says that it's offering banking services for national central banks. That includes America. I know. It's going to be all right. I know. But let's go a little deeper, y'all. Let's bring my man Mark back in. He going to go a little deeper in this thing real fast, man. Well, hold on. Before we do that, you may say, Dad, we don't know if they for real. I'm glad you actually said that. Here is their website. Ain't that something? That's so fun. Welcome to the Bank for International Settlements. It says promoting global monetary and financial stability through international cooperation. You probably have never heard of the BIS today. That changes today. All right, that changes today. All right, that it's real simple. The BIS. Come back to me for a second, guys. The Bank for International Settlements, of the BIS, are just the central banks for the central banks. It's the central bank for the central bank. That's all it is. It's the head bank over the central banks. That's all it is. That's all it is, guys. So, ain't no problem. Let's go a little bit deeper into this thing. Let's bring Mark back into this thing, y'all. All right, let's bring Mark back in. He's gonna go a little bit deeper in this. Again, get your pens and pads out because he's going deep in this thing. All right, here we go.
Now, over the last few months, there's been lots of talk of the US dollar losing its reserve currency status with the rise of the BRICS nations, the rise of China, the war with Russia, and of course, because the United States is broke and continues to print trillions of dollars out of thin air just to keep paying its bills.
You hear what he said? We keep printing trillions of dollars out of thin air just to pay our bills, not to make money, just to pay the bills. Okay, keep going.
As was just put front and center in the latest debt ceiling debate where, surprise, surprise, everyone voted to print trillions of more dollars. But while countless people online, from financial analysts to online hosts like Glenn Beck and even Tucker Carlson, like to talk about the US dollar losing its status in the world, what they've all been missing is what the most powerful bank in the world, the BIS, and China have been up to. And now,
he said the most powerful bank in the world, the what? BIS, which is the Bank for International Settlements. The most powerful bank in the world that you don't know about. Yeah, I know. I know. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna go a little deeper. Let's go.
We can see how this all comes together, including,
and also pause real fast again. China. Isn't China part of BRICS? And they're working in cohesiveness with the most powerful bank in the world. Pay attention now. Here we go.
Taking on the biggest dollar bulls. So in this video, I'm going to break down the global trade flows, the percentages, and more importantly, the trends. We're going to look at what the US is doing to really hand over the keys in this exchange. But then more importantly, I'm going to break down the brand new platform just released by the BIS and China to completely sidestep the US dollar's dominance, not gradually, but suddenly.
So now you have the biggest, most powerful bank in the world working hand in glove with China. And the goal is to completely sidestep the dollar, not gradually, but suddenly.
And what this means for anyone using the dollar. So let's go.
Listen.
Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mark Moss, and I make these videos to change the way you think about money because, yes, almost everything you've learned is wrong, but also money as we know it is literally changing right before our very eyes. What we've always known as money is changing, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I do want to say just real quickly, if you'd like to join my free newsletter where I send out every week, I send out kind of what I'm looking at, what I'm watching, and tips to help you become more sovereign. Financial sovereignty, it's free. I send it out once a week. You can just sign up down below. Stay in touch with me in case.
Sign up, guys. His content is fire. Sign up.
Something happens here, and I'll send you out more tips of how to become more sovereign, how to become more free, and you're going to need it after watching this video. All right, so click on that link down below just to stay in touch, get that free info every week. Okay, battle over money. Like I said, what we know as money is wrong, and it's changing. And of course, there's always a battle over money. You know, I've been talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies for over 7 years, and people always tell me they won't let crypto or Bitcoin win because they don't want to give up control over money. But who are they? We understand that people have control over money, and they don't want to give it up. And right now, we know that there is a battle over money. We have the US dollar as the reserve currency of the world. We have the rise of the BRICS and China and Russia and all that. And now there's a new entrance I want to explain. But going back, we understand that there's been a history of different reserve currencies. It hasn't always been the US dollar.
That's right.
And it certainly always won't be either. They tend to last about 80 to 100 years. Of course, the US dollar took over from the British pound sterling about 100 years ago, and the pound sterling is still there today.
Yes, it is.
As a matter of fact, it's still the third most used currency in the world.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean they just go away to zero, they're just not the reserve currency. Now, the dollar took over the position of the reserve currency of the world in 1944 under the Bretton Woods Agreement.
That's correct.
I'm not going to go through all that.
That's correct.
But the problem is that since then, the dollar has become weaponized. The dollar has become a tool of misappropriation. It's been a tool of economic sanctions. It's been a tool of theft.
Yes.
Every time more dollars are printed, it steals the value from the existing dollars.
Yes.
And so because of that, a lot of people don't like it. You know, back since 2013, China and Russia began their de-dollarization program, getting away from it. Of course, came from.
If you don't have your pens and paper out, writing what's going on right now, guys, you're going to miss everything. Everything. What he's breaking down, guys, is a history lesson on money, as well as and he progresses you to now and then the future. Write all this down.
Front and center when the U.S. basically sanctioned Russia. Russia got kicked out of the global financial system. And then China said, well, shoot, we should start preparing for something similar.
Now get this. Remember he said that the dollar is used as a weapon. And he pointed toward the weapon of sanctions, right? As you hear all the time, our government sanctioning said country, Russia, China, things of that nature, or tariffs. See what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Then what happens normally, guys, is that is the U.S. weaponizing the most powerful currency right now in the world, which is what? The dollar. And so China began to see this, and now they said, okay, we need to be ready for this actually happening to us. Now, under the Trump administration, the Trump administration did use the tariffs as well. And so now you see countries doing a lot of tariffs. So warring back and forth, guys. But the sanctions is what he's talking about. Man, listen to this.
And this has really escalated. Of course, now we see the rise of the B.R.I.C.S.
Here we go.
You hear about this everywhere. The B.R.I.C.S, which is the group of nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
Right.
They've joined together, and now it's a bunch of other countries representing more than half the people in the world. They want to have their own currency, and of course, you can't deny China's hand in this. We see right here, Russia and China are brewing up. They're brewing up a challenge to the dollar's dominance by creating a new reserve currency. So you see this all over the place, but you also hear people say this is never going to work. And it's never going to work because of this, and this. And I'm going to tell you what those things are, the this, and I'm going to show you why that's probably not a problem anymore. But if we kind of jump into this, we can see headlines of this all the time. The IMF raises the yuan rating in the SDR basket. And so I've talked about this before. If we have all these central banks, the United States Central Bank, the UK Central Bank, every country's central bank, Canada's central bank, above all of them up here we have the IMF. And the IMF takes all these currencies and it puts them into a basket of currencies known as an SDR, or special drawing rights as it's called. Now we can see that the IMF raises the yuan's weighting in the SDR basket. So they've lifted the yuan's rating, the central bank, because the central bank pledged to open its financial markets. So one of the reasons why you hear that another currency like China's or Russia's couldn't become the reserve currencies, they don't have open capital markets. We're going to talk about that in a second. But you can see they're pledging to do that, open it up. Now they've raised the yuan's rating to 12.2 from 10. So not huge. It's still not taking over the world yet. But sometimes we don't want to see the absolute number. It's the trend that we're most paying attention to. All right, now let's keep going and set this thing up. So you can see we've gone from kind of this unipolar world where the United States homogeny controls the world, the U.S. dollar's dominance controls the world, the uni currency, to like a bi currency or a multipolar. And so what we can see is that the U.S.'s trade dominance peaked really around after World War II.
That's correct.
So going up into that, the United States had the most gold, the golden rule. Who has the most gold sets the rules.
That's right.
The United States had about 2/3 of the world's gold at the time, which is why the dollar became the reserve standard of the world.
That's right.
And the U.S. After World War II was the country that didn't get bombed to heck like over in Europe, and it became the economic manufacturing powerhouse. And so it was the leader in global export, leader in global trade of goods and services to the rest of the world. So everybody wanted to trade with the U.S. Everybody needed things from the United States. It dominated global trade. However, since that time,
the key thing he's talking about, guys, is trade. Now he's going to go in this currency and trade marriage. Okay, guys, pay close attention, and you're going to see how he unfolds this thing. Man, it's so good. Here we go.
You can't just always sit back and rest on your laurels. Since that time, that trade has changed. And as a matter of fact, we can take a look. I have a few charts to show you through the years kind of how that's gone.
Yeah.
Here we have a picture of 2010. And this is countries which share the greater trade with the United States in blue.
Listen.
So here's obviously the United States. And so you can see all the countries that trade with the United States in blue in 2010.
Yeah.
Now,
look at the change.
Here we are 2020. And you only see a little bit of blue right here. The rest is all red.
Look at that change, guys. Look at that change, guys. That's crazy. Look at the change.
And that's China. So that's just a 10-year difference. It's happened pretty quickly. A couple more charts that kind of illustrate a little bit better. This is 1960. This is countries connected to the primary trading partner in 1960. So again, the United States being right here, having all these countries.
Yeah.
And you don't see really China on this map. This is, of course, the UK, and you have all this, but of course we have strong ties over here, et cetera. That's 1960. Now let's fast forward and go to 1990. Now we have the United States here, with still all the countries, still have the UK over here. But what we can see is this is all starting to break apart. 1990, you see China kind of emerge on the scene right here.
That little China is.
And there's a few trading partners, mostly the Asian countries that are a part of that over here. Of course, we have Germany. You know, Germany is the economic powerhouse over here. The UK, which is part of the EU, trades with that as well. And now let's fast forward to 2020. So you can see what happened.
Look at the change.
Now,
look at the change.
This looks way different.
Wow.
Now we have China.
Look at this.
Sitting here in the middle with all of these countries here, including the US being a major trading partner. Now we still have Germany over here,
yes, we do.
Kind of at the hub of this kind of EU situation over here, but you can see how much this has changed and how China has rapidly come on the scene since then. And the reason why it's important to understand this is because this is global trade. This is goods and services. And the reason why we want to understand this, if you want to understand what's going on and why the dollar is losing its dominance, is because we don't want money.
No. We don't want money, guys. We want the goods. That's what we want.
I say that often, and I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but we don't want money. What we want is the goods and the services that money buys us.
Exactly.
We want food, we want cars, we want vacations, we want houses, we want clothes, we want the things. Money is just a medium of exchange.
That's it.
Money just allows us to get those things. And the reason why it's important to understand that is because today the US dollar has been the dominant medium of exchange. It's been the dominant in global trade.
That's correct.
But what's important to understand is that the United States, after 1944, was the global powerhouse of economic goods and services, trading with the rest of the world.
Yes.
The U.S. doesn't really export goods anymore. The U.S. exports services, so the U.S. is really good at exporting its financial services. It's really good at exporting its social media services. But nobody really needs that. We don't eat social media services. What we need is cars. What we need is technology. What we need is food. And the U.S. doesn't really do that. So the dollar is still the primary medium of exchange, but not the producer of good. China dominates good exports. So let's take a look at this.
This points out to me, we've had fools as, I won't say fools, we've had, how can I say this? Individuals not operating in the best interest of American as citizens negotiating our trade deals. If we have just graduated over just offering services and no goods, and now China's is becoming the dominant player on the world stage when it comes to goods, we're behind. This lets me know that, man, we have been operating like fools. Now that foolish deals may be purposely or non-purposely. Either way it goes, it's foolish. Here we go.
And this is a good quote. This is actually a tweet from Luke Grauman. And he says, Matt, I'll reference Matthew Pines, as some of this research is from him. I'll show you that in a second. Matt shows that there's a flaw in but the US dollar is still 88% of global foreign currency trading.
Yes.
So dollar bulls are going to say, look, the dollar is still the dominant currency out there, and nobody's going to trade for another currency you can't use. So if I trade you Chuck E. Cheese tokens, like, what are you going to do with those? No one's going to accept those from you. Yeah. But if you accept dollar, anyone in the world will take those. Sure. So that's what he's arguing. But 99% of the world doesn't care about foreign currency trading. 99% of the world doesn't care about that.
99.
What do they care about? As much as they care about goods they need and use in everyday life. That's what we want. Goods.
And guess who is dominating the goods right now? China. Here we go.
And services, not the foreign currency. And so let's take a look at the goods and services. So what we can see here, this is the manufacturing value in 2010 versus manufacturing value in 2021.
Look at that.
And you can see the United States was about 25% of the pie in 2010, and China was about 25% of the pie.
Wow.
And look what China has done now, over 50% of the pie.
We have the world's worst negotiators. Trash. I mean, these guys, I believe they knew what they were doing, to be honest with you. But they were not operating, negotiating in the best interest of America. It's evident to see. Here we go.
So you can see the producer of goods being exported has drastically changed in the last 10 years. As a matter of fact, if we take a look at this chart of China, what we can see is this is the China's goods surplus. This is in billions, the amount they trade. So from 2000, right here, this is the year 2000, all the way to 2022. I mean, look how fast that's gone up. And what kind of goods are they exporting? Well, all kinds of goods. For example, China has emerged as an auto exporter. So you would think about Japan, Toyota being an auto exporter.
Yeah.
You think about Germany with their, BMWs and Porsches as an auto exporter. Yeah. What we can see is that Japan is trending down.
Yes.
We can see Germany way trending down.
Look at
South Korea trending down. The US basically holding flat, but look at China on the rise, exporting real things that people want. Yes, goods and services. Here's another chart to kind of illustrate this. You can see again, Japan, auto exports have fallen off of a cliff.
Wow, yep.
Germany kind of leveled out and is now falling pretty drastically. Whereas China is still small, but it's the trend that's taking over.
Yes.
So now that you understand that, we don't want money, we want goods and services, we must produce goods and services, then you have to understand that in order to win this game, in order for your currency to win, you must have the goods and services to back that. People don't want the currency, they want the goods and services.
This is the reason why this BRICS situation is different than past alliances when it comes to the US dollar. Goods. Here we go.
So for example, I'm happy to take Chuck E. Cheese tokens from Chuck E. Cheese when I'm there because I want to use them at Chuck E. Cheese. I don't need them in any other context.
Yeah.
So if I'm trading with the US because I need all the goods that they're sending me, I'm happy to take dollars because I can use them back with the US.
Yes.
But if the US doesn't provide any goods, why do I need the US dollars? If I'm getting all my goods from China, then why wouldn't I take China's Chuck E. Cheese token?
There you go.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so if we break this down, then let's take a look. Because the greatest threat to the EU or Germany or to the United States is from within. Yes. The greatest threat is the enemy that lies within. So let's take a look just at the United States.
Yeah.
And what we can see here, if you want to know what the United States exports. So we can see that America's 5 biggest exported products in 2021 were 1, refined petroleum oils.
Okay.
Energy.
Okay.
Crude oil.
Okay.
Energy.
Okay.
Petroleum gases. 3. Cars and electronic integrated circuits.
Yeah.
Okay. The United States ranks among the world's leading nations for exporting refined petroleum oils and petroleum gases.
Yeah.
So the majority of what the U.S. exports is energy products.
Exactly.
68% of the products exported from the U.S. were bought by importers and our trading partners. And the reason why this is important to understand is what is the policy of the United States right now?
Listen.
That's to reduce our energy.
Yes.
That's to stop drilling. That's to stop producing
Listen.
energy. And if we stop producing energy and we stop exporting, then nobody needs those dollars. Now you might say, but Mark, what about Saudi Arabia, the petrodollar? All oil is sold in dollars, so that means there's always a demand for dollars. Well, that would be true, except for the relationship between the Biden administration and the Saudi Arabian crown prince has failed, and now they say they want to start selling oil in other currencies, including, yes, the Chinese yuan.
So he's talking about a good right now, good, right, which is petroleum, fossil fuels that we are swimming in. What is happening, guys, is we are tamping down exporting that good, right? And remember, the world doesn't want our dollars because our dollars worth garbage. It's worth nothing. He's looking at the goods behind the dollar. They want the good. So we've been a major exporter in the past of petroleum oils. In other words, fossil fuels. Fossil fuels. Now what's happening is, and unfortunately, the current administration, the Biden administration, is tamping that down. Tamping it down. So, and the word says, we don't want your dollar, we want your good. We want your goods. Okay? We want what you're swimming in, which is what? Petroleum oil, fossil fuels, natural gas. We want that. We don't want your dollar. And so now you see a pivot when it comes to Saudi Arabia. They're saying, oh, okay, no problem. Since you don't want to sell your oil or what you're swimming in, no problem. We'll sell our oil and we'll accept other currency in exchange for that. Because we don't want your dollar. We want your good. Your good. We want that oil, the good. Man, this is good, y'all.
So you start to see what's happening. Now, let's keep going. Remember the threat within. If the United States decide to cut its own nose off and stop producing energy, that's a big problem. But Germany's doing the same thing. So Germany has, shut off all their nuclear reactors, stopped getting all their natural gas. They were getting it from Russia. Now they're cut off from that. So their energy prices spiked, and now their manufacturing can't afford to operate anymore. So now they're shutting everything down. They're deindustrializing. But what about the factories? What about the car manufacturing? Oh, well, turns out that has to leave. You can't afford.
So he's talking about the enemy from within. What he's talking about, guys, he's saying that the way to destroy or to hinder a superpower, someone that actually has a good that the world actually needs and clamors, is to destroy them from within. In other words, shut down the mechanisms that is driving, which is the driving force behind what your major good export is. And he gave you the example of Germany. Germany is getting killed right now. He's getting killed right now. And we see what's going on right now is we're heading down the same avenue when it comes to our major export, which is what? Fossil fuels. Keep going.
To operate anymore. Germany's leaders and top CEOs have arrived in Beijing, that would be China. They need China now more than ever.
And then who steps in? Whenever there is a enemy from within and you begin to self-sabotage yourself, who steps right in to fill that vacuum gap? China. Let's keep going, guys. Do you see how they've grown so much into a powerhouse? Why? They've become experts at becoming the major exporter of goods when other countries are trying to not do that. Man, and no one wants your currency. They want your good, what your currency can acquire. Man, let's get it.
We can't afford to manufacture in Germany anymore because our energy is too high because we decided to shut it all off. So we need you now to manufacture for us. We can see one of Germany's, if not the largest, one of Germany's largest manufacturers, B.A.S.F, started to move all its factories out of Germany and move them over to China.
So now China steps in and says, hey, we don't got the oil, but you can bring your operations over to our country and pump it over here. So now they're recruiting companies out of Germany into China. And China steps right in and servicing them, man. Look at this, man.
It's the goods that matter. The currency is used as a medium of exchange for the goods. And so that's why I referenced Matthew Pines. I got a lot of research off of him. And so I'll link to his Twitter account down below. He says, by squeezing Germany out of global value chains, China would secure a dominant strategic position. Of course, because the whole world's going to need what they have.
Exactly.
The tripolar network of exports on its way towards a unipolar world, which is China.
Yes.
You can see the map of how every country is now revolving around the Chinese sun. And so
great. I mean, their negotiators have done a phenomenal job at positioning them to be in this powerful position. Where are negotiators at? Who's negotiating these trash deals? So now we're subordinate, not the superpower anymore. No one wants our dollars. They want our goods.
So if they're producing all the goods, then it turns out to be their currency that we need. So now let's go back and talk to the dollar bulls.
Come on.
The king dollar. The king dollar can't be dethroned, right? Because why? Well, one, it's the most widely accepted. It makes up 80% of foreign FX reserves. But as Luke Grumman said, people don't care about FX reserves. What they care about is the goods and services.
Thank you.
So it is the most widely accepted, but it's starting to be challenged very quickly by other things.
Sure is.
But Mark, that doesn't matter because China might be making more goods and services, and China, sure, it's being used more in trade now, sure, but they don't have open capital markets. So no one's going to put money in there because the markets aren't open. Well, yes, but you just saw the IMF is increasing their SDR basket because they've pledged to have more open capital markets.
Yes,
now,
they have.
We'll believe it when we see it. I get it, but here's where we are. What about functioning bond market? You can't replace the dollar because of the functioning bond market and the liquidity that we have in the bond market. Or what about the US dollar has the SWIFT payment system, which is how money gets moved around the world? Or what about all the correspondent banks that move the money around the world? Without the banks and the SWIFT system and the bond market, I mean, no other country has that.
That's correct.
China doesn't have that. Russia doesn't have that. The BRICS don't have that. So how could anyone take over the dollar? Good question. Let me answer that for you.
Here we go.
Okay, have you heard of the leapfrog, like digital leapfrog? So let me explain what this is. So the United States, well, if you go back to the Industrial Revolution, each country industrialized at different rates.
That's right.
So Europe industrialized first, added machines, right, in the late 1700s. And then the next country, the next country, the next country. Each country that industrialized after, it happened faster because they were able to build off of the lessons of the previous country. So the first country takes 100 years, the last country takes 5 years, right? That's how it happens. But also because of the leapfrog. And so like in the United States, for example, we had wireless phones. It took about 80 years to reach 80% adoption in wired phone lines. We had phone lines all over the United States. So when the internet came, the internet grew very rapidly in the United States because we had wired phone lines. And of course, if you're old enough to remember, the early days of getting on the internet, it was through your phone, right? Remember the noise that I made? But in Africa, they didn't have the whole country wired.
Watch what happened in Africa.
So they couldn't have internet because they didn't have the phone line anywhere. So what they did is when the U.S. got wireless, Africa just leapfrogged past the whole wired thing and went directly to wireless internet.
Watch this.
That's what we're talking about with the leapfrog. It was a wireless moment, and that's exactly where we are in the monetary system. So remember, the bonds and the correspondent banks and the SWIFT system and all of that, that's the wired phone system. But what if we just leapfrogged right past that with a new system? And that's what we have. It's called Project M-Bridge. This is brought by the B.I.S. Now, I've drawn this before. If we have all the central banks.
Again, you said B.I.S. Man, what does it stand for those who just came in? B.I. stands for Bank for International Settlements. It is the bank for the central banks, the most powerful banking system in the world. Here we go. Let's keep going, y'all. Man.
Banks, the U.S. Central Bank, the Bank of England, the Bank of Japan, the Bank of China, etc. Up here, we kind of have the IMF.
Y'all know them.
And then up here, we have the B.I.S.
B.I.S.
Okay?
Here they go.
So the B.I.S. and China have just created something called Project M-Bridge, which is the leapfrog.
Wow.
But let's jump right to the B.I.S. website and take a look at this. So this is a screenshot directly from the B.I.S. website, Project M-Bridge, connecting economies through a CBDC. Yes, that's a central bank digital currency. Yes, the thing that you fear the most, it's here. The central bank digital currency. What we have, let's pull up a little bit of text directly off of the B.I.S. website, directly in their own words. It says right here that payment systems underpinning cross-border financial flows has not kept pace with rapid growth.
Okay.
So the payment systems underpinning cross-border flows, what is that? That would be the existing system, the SWIFT payment system, the correspondent banks, the thing that's keeping the US dollar entrenched per the dollar bulls. That system, it doesn't keep up, hasn't kept pace with rapid growth. The global network of correspondent banks, there's that word, that facilitates international payments is hindered by high cost, low speed, and transparency, and operational complexities. It's way too complex. And it's way too risky because, you know, the US could just censor us, shut us off, sanction us at any time. Emerging market and developing economies need affordable access to the global financial system. They can't afford to pay these crazy fees to this old antiquated system of the correspondent banks and the SWIFT system. We can't afford to do that anymore. We need something better. So now we need multiple CBDCs, multi-central bank digital currencies, arrangements that directly connect with each other, offering significant potential to improve the current system. Creative destruction. When a new way is created, it kills the old way. The B.I.S., Bank of International Settlements, Innovation Hub, Hong Kong Center, so Hong Kong is the financial center of Asia and kind of the world, which is of course owned and controlled by China. The Hong Kong Monetary Authority,
there they go again.
Other Asian banks as well, and of course the People's Bank of China, PBOC, the Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates, UAE, of course the energy hub of the world, are working together to build such a multi-CBDC platform known as Project M.
Oh man,
there you have it. It's directly.
They are trying to sidestep the whole SWIFT system, because in what they said, it's too complex, it's too risky because the U.S. could just say, we're gonna cut you off. Now we need to have multiple central digital currencies, right? We need to have that multiple of those platforms interlink into one to sidestep the SWIFT system. This BRICS thing is real, y'all. Here we go.
Off of their website. So what this is just like how Africa was able to jump into wireless internet without having to build the wires first like the US did. Well, China is now bypassing the entire financial system, not by trying to rebuild or duplicate the old archaic system that doesn't work. No, they're building a brand new system to bypass or leapfrog over it. And that is the M-Bridge. It's a cross-bridge CBDC platform that does three purposes that align perfectly with China's mission and vision. So what are those? First, to block. It prevents them from being blocked by U.S. sanctions and surveillance. So now they can move.
Wait a minute, that's a threat right there to the U.S. dollar, right? And the sanctions. Here we go.
Move money around without the U.S. seeing what they're doing or having the ability to sanction them, like what happened to Russia. It builds non-USD rails. So the rails is the way the money moves. Now they can move it in a whole new system without having to use the US dollar. And they can do that with their key partners. Key partners like UAE for energy. Key partners.
BRICS.
It expands their offshore liquidity for their own currency. And it builds massive influence for their geo-economic sphere, for the countries that they want to do business with. They have massive influence now because they're expanding their liquidity into this new system. So it kind of looks something like this,
look what it looks like, yo.
Where each country has here's Thailand, or here's China, Hong Kong, etc., UAE. And their banks work through and they all come in here and then they swap and they go back out. It's the bridge. This is the hub where they do the exchange. And we can see, here's like these are screenshots directly off the B.I.S. website. And so you can kind of see all the commercial banks send it to the central bank, and then the central banks can exchange amongst themselves and then push it right back out to the commercial banks. And then of course you and I, we'd be all the way out here. Now, this is something that's been underworked for a while. We can see the timeline here started back in 2000.
Quick question, that right there, guys, that completely kind of usurps the dollar. Here's the question. Have they tested this out? Let's find out and see.
2017. It's been advancing all the way till 2022, where it was successfully conducted using real value transactions.
Wow.
Meaning this is no more in theory or in design. It's actually out. It's been tested. It's been proven.
Wow.
And it works. So
wow.
It's time to face the uncomfortable reality.
Listen.
The uncomfortable reality is that the world is changing.
It is.
What we know as money is changing. And the world of control and money of the US dollar is also changing. All right? And it's not going to happen sometime in the future. It's here right now.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the world from a geoeconomic, a geopolitical lens, if you're looking at the world as a game board, you want to understand who the players are and what their moves are. And anybody that looks at that has to recognize that this is underway.
It is.
The users of this, I do want to say, the users of this as of right now, it's not the time to go be scared and hide in your house.
Of course.
The users of this right now are central banks, commercial banks, as I just drew out, and even state banks.
Yes.
It's not designed yet for a retail CBDC. Not yet. Phase one, let's get it working between the banks. Phase two, we can try to put out to the individual people. But this is coming. The dollar's days are coming to an end. Now, when I say coming into an end, like I said, the dollar took over from the pound sterling 100 years ago. It's still the third most used currency today. Some people are going to watch this and go, oh my gosh, Mark, what's going to happen? Am I going to wake up one day and my dollars will buy me half as many goods and services? They already do.
Yes,
the dollar already buys you half as much as it did a few years ago. And so yes, that will continue. The dollar will continue to lose its dominance. One of the big things is that as the dollar loses its dominance, then the inflation that the U.S. is able to ship off to the rest of the world will come home to roost. So we can expect a lot more inflation from us as it sets in. Of course, stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel. I'll make.
Wow, man, yo. Whoo, man, that was a lot there, y'all. That was a lot there, bro. You got a business course on currency and CBDCs, man. In what? It's been like 47 minutes, man. Man, I hope you had your pens and your pads out, man. This one you didn't want to miss. All right, guys. Here's my reaction. I'm going to talk about what he just said now. Typically, because the dollar right now currently is the lion's share or it's the major player or the major currency on the world stage, right? Typically, the U.S. had the ability to print, or digitize, whatever you want to say, and then ship those dollars off to kind of tamper inflation. That's what's really kind of going on when it comes to, I believe, in Ukraine. It's another place for them to ship dollars over to kind of try to tamper that inflation while at the same time changing definitions. You know what I'm saying? So guys, now when it comes to what China is doing, China brilliantly has become an expert in exporting goods and services. And at the exact same time, the U.S. has become its own enemy by not becoming an expert in exporting goods or services. Our major good right now, to be honest with you, is fossil fuels. We're swimming in it. And right now, we are not printing any, we're not producing very little oil and gas. The world is saying, we do not want your dollars. We want your good called oil, right? We want that. Then what Mark did brilliantly is he broke down what was going on in Germany right now, and it's around fossil fuels, right? Petroleum as a good. And because Germany began to deindustrialize themselves, what's happening is now they kind of became their own enemy. And now what's happening is BASF, I believe, is the name of the oil company in Germany, has now been welcomed to begin to produce oil or bring that business or those operations into where? China. So China has stepped right in to infuse or to plug in that vacuum that Germany, who shot itself in its own foot when it comes to this, guys. It is crazy. China has done a good job at doing that, which leads me to conclude our negotiators and all of our government entities, guys, out of due respect, either they knew this was going to happen, and I believe they did, or at the exact same time, they were just foolish. Either option is foolishness because that hinders the American consumer. As he just said, guys, this leapfrog bridge that China and the BIS, the most powerful bank in the world, all right, has joined together. It is no longer in theory mode. It's actually been tested, right, for central banks, and then state banks, and also I do believe it's federal banks as well, also, right? Now, they hadn't gotten to the consumers yet. That's the next pivot when it comes to China. China knows what they're doing, guys. We sleep at the wheel, or are we? Or is this part of the design? This is part of the actual rules itself. I don't know. I'm just speculating, guys. All I'm saying right now is when it comes to what's going on here, guys, we are so far behind. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous, man. It is ridiculous. So that's why I say this U.S. and BRICS situation, guys, it's real because now there's the goods behind the BRICS countermove. Goods, because the world does not want the dollar. They want the goods. They want that, guys. I know this was light information, but man, when I saw this, what Mark was talking about, I had to share this. That's my dog. Yeah, had to share this, guys. But it's all good. So again, what is the counter move, guys? All right. You know what I say is peep it, sweep it, and then keep it. You know, I begin every time, guys. Examine your current situation to peep it. So what's the question? What environment is your money currently resting in? Right? He said at the end, your dollar is losing value. So is it in the bank? Is it in a 401k? Is it in an IRA? A Roth IRA or 403b? Where's it resting in? Is it behind a good? Okay? Does that make sense? Only you know the answer to that question, right? So now we have sweep it. Well, where it's currently parked at, how secure is your money? In other words, what tangible good is backing your devalued dollar? If it's nothing, I feel sorry for you. Okay? I feel sorry for you. Right? So I always say, I got three principles that I kind of go back while we're in the sweeping stage. I always say insure, leverage, then protect. I call it the velocity of money. Velocity of money, what that means is how fast does your money go from A to B? How fast? How fast? The velocity of your money, the speed of money. If it's backed by nothing, guys, it's backed by nothing right now and not a tangible good. Think about this. You actually have China, who is a major exporter of goods, tangibles, and that move is now threatening the dollar. So why not copy that type of strategy? Does that make sense? That makes some sense, guys? That's it. And now, guys, so I always say insure, leverage, and protect. Those three things, insure, leverage, and protect, right? Then it says start thinking generationally. Okay, start thinking generationally, guys. Think 3 generations ahead of you. Don't think about Saturday night. Think 3 generations before ahead of you. That's how the wealthy plan. Broke people plan for Saturday night. Broke people plan to be on social media all day. Think about how China did it, guys. You saw the chart back in 1990. How the U.S. was the big player in town. We're in 2020. Now it's China. China. Why? They thought 3 generations ahead of themselves. Right? Right? Now, so does any of this position you or provide the correct environment to make your life better? Your current investment strategy, how does it make your life better and 3 generations ahead of you. Does that make sense? Let me say it again. How does your current investment strategy, right? Let me put this back up. How does your current investment strategy, how does it position you to make your life better now and 3 generations ahead of you, right? Start thinking 3 generations ahead of you. That's how China did it. Why not copy them? Man, to see how they actually created that end bridge that completely sidesteps the SWIFT financial systems scenario. That's man. And it was all pointed toward the US dollar. Every move was because they want to get away from that sanctions thing. They view that as a threat. So right now, inflation is a threat to you. So what is your side step? What's your counter move to what's here and what's coming? Because once this Enbridge thing takes off, guys, what he said at the end, what's going to happen is this here. Is what the U.S. could normally do, which is shift inflated dollars across the seas, is no more because countries do not want the dollar. They don't want your currency. They want the good. Now I see why politicians like a Trump or anyone else would say drill, drill, drill. Why is that? Because it's good focus. It's good focus because no one wants the dollar. No one wants it. They don't want it at all, guys. They don't want it. So, man, give me your thoughts, man. What are your thoughts, man? I knew this was going to be a lot of information, man, but Mark Moss, he killed it, man. I mean, a brilliant presentation, guys. All right? Start thinking 3 generations ahead. Now, I would say, some people said that I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. I got you. I'm rocking with you. I'm rocking with you. Here, guys. Whatever you want, guys. Schedule a wealth management type of scenario with us. Schedule it with us. Let's walk through this whole thing together, guys. Let's walk through it. Okay? I don't know where you're at, but I am here to help as much as I can. It may be tell you to go over here, go to this person, to that person, whatever. It may be you invest in the real estate, beginning a side hustle. All right? Beginning a side hustle. Let me go back here real fast. Come back to me real quickly. This thing, thinking 3 generations ahead, guys. You now have to begin a side hustle. That's a must. A side hustle. That's a must. You have to, no matter what it is, begin a side hustle, whether it be in real estate, whether it be in financial services, whether it be a home-based business, something, guys. It's time for you to begin a side hustle. Because more than ever, if you're stacking dollars right now, that ain't gonna help you out at all. Because the world doesn't want your dollars. They want your good. So how do you begin to properly manage your wealth or grow your wealth or think three generations ahead, guys? It's real simple, guys. Simple. Look for a problem and provide a solution to that problem. Now, provide a good or service that dollars can be exchanged for. All right? Solve someone's problem. You saw what China did. China just solved the sanction problem. The sanction problem, guys, for other countries. That's why I say this USA BRIC situation is real because China's involved. And they have just designed with the biggest bank in the world, the Bank for International Settlements, an Enbridge technology that sidesteps the SWIFT financial market, which supplanted the US dollar as the global currency, so to speak. Now they can sidestep that. That doesn't mean the dollar's going to be gone. This means that the days of the dollar being the major currency are coming to an end. It comes to an end. It's just keep it 100 with you guys. Keep 100 with you guys. So again, guys, if you need any help, I do whatever I can to point you in the right direction. I don't know what you need, but after having a discussion with someone, with myself or someone on my team, guys, we can point you in the right direction, guys. So, guys, man, again, give me your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think about it, man. I thought that this was a phenomenal thing to share with you guys, to be honest with you, because what he shared, guys, was spot on, guys. But man, thank you so much, guys. Now you know, every Tuesday and Friday, somewhere in the middle with Sue Nemo. Come on, let me guys. You know I play this every week, guys. Here is a kind of a little bit of a sample of what you get, guys. Here we go.
Now we're about to get going down. Facts on facts on facts. Hello.
All right, guys, that's Sunni and Mo, guys. Now I do have. We're actually going on multiple platforms, guys. One is Instagram, so I got some questions on Instagram real fast, guys. Again, here is the link, guys, for you to scan. Also, the link is also in my bio on Instagram as well. Just schedule a time, and some of my staff will reach out to you. Now, I had a question on Instagram, guys, real quickly. This is real time live stream. It says, "What about the XRP and XLM?" If you could, Virtuous, explain what you mean by that. I want to properly answer your question. And Asia said I will definitely be reaching out to you for God. But thank you so much. I pray that I give you some value. If not, if it's just me pointing you to a different direction, that's fine. I don't know what you need, guys, but I have several people on my squad and partners that we partner with to offer some type of solution to help you. But I tell you this, guys, now more than ever, you're going to need a side hustle. You're going to need a side hustle. Okay? I don't know what that is for you, but you're going to need a side hustle. The fastest way to answer that question is what solution what problem do you see you can provide a solution to make the world make the world better, which in turn will make your life better. It's very simple. Zig Ziglar really had a great quote concerning that. He said, if you provide a solution, I may be misquoting Zig Ziglar, but if you provide a solution to somebody that turns their life on and makes their life better, that also take care of you at the exact same time, guys. Well, guys, man, thank you so much for your time. God bless you guys. But you know how I end every time, guys. I always say this. Before you leave, and while you can, you see that thing, baby. Take that damn picture and give it to your mama them. Now say it with your chest and with your partner. And holler at your partner. God bless you guys. Peace.